Hey class, this is the first lesson in distant learning. It will be on square roots and roots. Um, One thing I want to say is please be sure that you're following along as it's a lesson. If I ask you to pause and do the exercise, please pause and do the exercise. That way you can get the practice and see if you're understanding it as I show the answers. In addition, please make sure you are writing notes. Every note that you have will help you when you go on Khan Academy, which will be where it's graded. This is the video to support you in teaching you how to do it, and you do the exercises for credit. All right, as you warm up, what I want you to do, you should have your notebook out. You should have a piece of paper and a pencil or a whiteboard and a marker. That way you have some place to work, but please make sure you have your notebook out. If you don't, pause it. All right, what I want you to do for the warm up is please go ahead and create this table without a calculator. I want you to complete this table using squares. These are what we call perfect squares. And when you're doing exponents, remember it's the base and then your exponent tells you how many times. So for example, if I do 2 square, my base is going to be 2 times 2. The 2 is going to come out 2 times, and you're going to multiply those together, and in that case I will get 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. Go ahead and pause and complete this table. All right, let's go ahead and check with the first row and see if you got that correct. 1 square is 1. As we covered, 2 square is 4. 3 square is 9 because 3 times 3. 4 square is 16. 4 times 4. And now I'm going to just go over these quickly. 5 is 25. 6 square is 36. 7 square is 49. And 8 square is 64. Go ahead and check your bottom row with mine as well. It's very key that you have these. If yours is not correct, pause the video and go ahead and correct yours. You will be using this as a table to determine what the root will be between which numbers. All right, moving on real quick. Some announcements. First of all, welcome back. I'm glad to be back and doing something. It has been very boring. I know a lot of people have been catching up on Netflix, but it's time to finish the year off strong. So I just, like I told you before, I will be using Khan Academy, but please go to Google Classroom first. That's where announcements will be. That's where I will be during class time. I'll be able to answer questions. I will start a stream as well on announcements and let you know when I'm live, whether it's office hours or when it's the math section time. Please look at your schedule. You should be able to get it from your advisory teacher. See if you can log in, and if you can't log into Khan Academy, please go ahead and email me because you have to be sure to complete your assignments on time. They will be closing at the end of the week. I want to give you enough time to get them done, but we got to move on so you're not falling behind on the content. Really quickly, we just finished our break. Today we're going to learn perfect squares and roots. Next lesson, we're going to do rational and irrational numbers for identifying. Today you're going to be able to find the number a root is between by using your knowledge of the square numbers. This is why we created that in our warm-up. Please make sure you remember that you have to go on Khan Academy and you have to get a 75% or higher for me to put it in the grade book, okay? Really quickly, you do not need to write this. I just wanted to remind you what perfect squares are. We went over that in the do now. It's taking a number and multiplying it by itself. So for example, the first one is 1 times 1 will create 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 creates 9. And 4 times 4 creates 16. Now, I am going to have you pause it in a minute. Square roots. If this is not familiar to you, I highly suggest you pause and write this down. This is going to help you when we begin our roots and next lesson as well with irrational and rational numbers. So, square root is the operation that yields a number that you are multiplying. So if you use this symbol right here, the root, and you take the root of 16, you find out it's 4. Why? Because 4 times 4 is 16. So it tells you what multiplied by itself gives you the perfect square. Here is a list of a few. You can pause the video and go ahead and write these down. That way you have the example, and when you're going in Khan Academy, you know if it's rational or irrational. All right, for example, and all I want you to do is I only want you to write 2 of these as an example so you can see how this works. But the number you start with, 3, well, 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. If you take the root of 9, you're going to find out that it is 3, okay? So it's just showing the relationship of going from a number to the perfect square and then going back to the root of the number that started that perfect square. Okay, negatives do not work in this, so we are not, unless it's on the outside and you pull it, but we're not using it. All right, we are going to determine if these are perfect squares. So for example, let me show you this one. And I'm going to show you 1 and 2, and then you'll pause for 3 and 4. For 1, the number 7. Well, the root of 7 is not a perfect square. So you're going to look at that table, and on that table, you're going to see what 2 numbers it will be between. Well, 4 and 9, because 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. So it will be between the numbers 2 and 3. Let me say it one more time. So 7 is not a perfect square, but 9 and 4 is. These 2 numbers, their root is 2 and 3. So that means that the root of 7 will be between 2 and 3. It'd be something like 2.4, 2.5. I have to look. So 20, try to look at it on your table right now. The root of 20, what 2 numbers would that be between? Well, if you said 16 and 25, well, the root of 16 is 4, and the root of 25 is 5. So 20 is going to lie between 4 and 5. All right, go ahead and pause the video for me real quick and try to do 3 and 4 on your own. Welcome back. Hopefully you tried them. That's how you're going to get a better understanding. Please make sure you're doing the practice. But 85 is between 81 and 100. When I look at the roots, 9 is the root of 81 and 10 is the root of 100. Therefore, it will lie between 9 and 10. And this will make more sense as we start graphing them. Next one. 45 is between 2 numbers, 36 and 49. So the root of 36 is 6 and the root of 49 is 7. Therefore, it will lie between 6 and 7 when you are putting this on the number line. Go ahead and do this on your practice paper or your whiteboard. Pause the video before I show the answer. The root of 78 is between 8 and 9 because 8 squared is 64 and 9 squared is 81. The last one, 50 is between 7 and 8. 7 squared is 49 and 8 squared is 64. If I was putting this on the number line, I'll put it right in front of 7 because 7 squared is 49 and 50 is not that far off. Okay, so we're going to practice graphing on a number line. I've been talking about that throughout the lesson on where numbers would land, or I should say imperfect roots. In this case, go ahead and pause the video and write exactly the roots and this number line that's here, and then we'll go ahead and find what numbers the root of 68 and the root of 42 2 would be between. Pause the video. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and see if your answers are correct. And please make sure you're following along and pausing when I ask and try to practice, because it makes Khan Academy a lot quicker if you're understanding the material by practicing throughout. With that said, the root of 68 is between 8 and 9 because 8 squared is 64. And since 68's not far off, I'm going to put it closer to my 8 than I would my 9. 9 squared is 81, so it's between those. And then my root would be under it. For Khan Academy, you just need to recognize what point is what root. So you wouldn't have to worry about writing it. The next one here, the root of 42 is between 6 and 7. 6 squared is 36. 7 squared is 49. You can always use your warm-up to help you. Since 42 is closer to 49, I put it just a tad bit before the 7, and I would write my 42. Okay? So this is why we're finding what number is between, because it makes it easier to graph on a number line. On your notebook or your whiteboard, go ahead and write these roots down. Find the number they are between. Please notice one thing before you pause the video is this number line is from 1 to 20. So go ahead and make sure your number line is that as well. Go ahead and pause. Welcome back. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and check our answers. The root of 136 is between 11 and 12. 11 is 122 and 12 is 144. So 136 is going to be slightly little more than the middle, I would say, of 11 and 12. I would put that there. And we're going to know that that represents my 136. So for the 198, I'm going to go ahead and it's between 14 and 15. And 14 square, is 196. So I'm going to put since this right here is 198, it's hard to write this. I'm going to put this just shy of 14. So know that that's the root for this one right here. Okay? Next, last one before we close out and I assign Khan Academy. Go ahead and write a number line. Please make sure it's 1 through 20. And please write these. Go ahead and pause. All right. So, for this one, 135, the root of 135 is between 11 and 12. 11 squared is 121. So if I were to graph this right here, and 12 squared is 144, it's going to be slightly between the two, 11 and 12. So that's going to be my 135. For the root of 200, it's going to be between 14 and 15. And since the root of 14, if you look it up, is 196, then you're going to put it right just a little bit more. Okay, let's do it about here. Okay, so that would be the one for the root of 200. And this is how we graph in perfect roots. For your exit slip and for your account of work, you have two things that you need to complete on Khan Academy. The first thing is going to be what's considered your exit slip. It is the square roots of perfect squares, the article. When you answer the questions on the article, it will show that you understand the overall concept of the roots. The last one is the root activity, which will be counted as your classwork. Please make sure, your homework classwork. So please make sure that you complete that. If you have any questions, office hours are from 3 to 3:30 every day, or Monday through Thursday. And you can always chat with me on the stream during math class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Have an amazing day. Bye.